Hi, everyone, and welcome to our presentation today and our information session today. Your presenter, Richard Karaoke. I first of all want to, convey, our apologies for the few minutes that we've been late. And welcome you all to this particular information session. Thank you for your subscription, and we hope to engage you more and more as we continue with this presentation. And just to give you a bit of orientation to the platform that we are using, just to give you a bit of a highlight, the platform that we are currently using. On the right hand side of the platform, there is a place that says you can chat us. So on that section, you can ask any question, raise any area that you would like, clarified on, and we will be certainly very happy to, guide you further into it. So welcome all, and it's my hope that by the end of the session we'll have learned together, and you'll be more prepared to come and be in our accommodation facility than you were before. Uh, First, to give you a basic outline of the accommodation facility, or rather to give you a basic outline of the webinar. So we'll start with a brief introduction, then we'll move to the accommodation. That is the location highlight. Then we'll look at what is provided in the EA accommodation. And then after that, we'll, look at what you need to bring with you. That is basically what is not there in the accommodation. And then we'll also look at, the accommodation options that we have in EA. And then, of course, every jungle has its a bit of its rules. So we'll be able to. It has a bit of its rules, so we will look at some of the common house rules that you are supposed to look at, and some of the things that you need to be aware in terms of the rules that you'll need to uphold. So starting off, and just before I start off, I'm sitting in with my colleagues are helping me also with the responding of the questions. So Violet, maybe you can say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so thank you. So I'll start with the first thing. When you have been received at the airport, when you are not in the hospital of rotation, when you are not having an excursion to the local area, you will be at the house where you'll be living. It's necessary, it's absolutely necessary that you know what you expect in the house. And through this webinar, therefore, or rather we seek to give you some pre-guidance and pre-information on how your accommodation is like. Let's start with a bit of introduction. When you arrive, you'll be met on the airport, and that is automatically going to happen. You'll be met by the EA staff who are going to be coordinating your placement, and once you received your transported to a residence, to the house where you'll be residing. And then after that, when you're taken to the house, you're oriented to the residence, and that is going to be taking quite a chunk of what we'll be discussing today. So, quite a lot of it, in terms of the orientation to the house and what is there in that particular house and how you'll be using whatever is going to be in that house. And then on the day that you arrive, if you arrive, let's say in the morning, and you have some time to debunk and rest a bit, in the afternoon, you can actually, be taken to the local area orientation. If not in the afternoon, if you arrive in the evening and you'll need to rest after a long flight, you'll be taken to the local area orientation the following day. And this is an important element also of the accommodation and of the location, because in the local area orientation, you're shown your location in terms of the malls, the beaches that you'll be visiting, and basically understanding of the location where you will be living. But that is not for today. So what is for today is what is contained in your house, or rather, what is your accommodation and your housing like. And as I continue, please note that on the right-hand side of the platform, as you're listening and you follow the conversation, you can raise your question, and we'll be happy to respond to all the questions towards the end of this presentation. So what some of the location highlights of the place that you will be living. So first of all, the locations, or rather the where the houses are located in safe neighborhoods, are not in homestays or guest houses. So this is in students' apartments. These are pre-selected apartments that are within safe neighborhoods, and on which we can actually guarantee, or rather we can actually say for a fact that you're going to be safe within the house. The house is also as a highlight of where they're going to be located, because now your daily routine involves, first of all, the hospital work and where you'll be working, or rather where you'll be interning. So it's within, very short distances to the hospital. I've given a higher approximation and estimation that is between 20 and 30 minutes to where you'll be interning. That is on the higher side, and this depends purely on the kind of traffic that is going to be as you go there. But it's very close to the hospital where you're going to be placed, and then it's also close to social amenities. Being abroad is not just about being in the hospital and doing hospital work. You need to visit local areas, go to the malls and perhaps have a session to watch a movie, even go out and perhaps have a drink in one of the evenings and come back to the residence. So this is within the closeness of local social amenities and cash points, in case you run out of cash and you need to add into what you have in terms of cash. It's also very close to local excursion areas. We are talking of those going to Mombasa, going to the beaches, those going to other locations, having adventure sites, like waterfalls, local culture places that you can actually visit and be immersed. But of highlight and of important highlights, these accommodation facilities, given one of the key perspectives and one of the key aspects of the placements is the local cultural immersion. So we seek also to have houses that don't isolate the participants from the community, but they are within locations where you can actually visit the town center and interact with the people, visit children homes and interact with people, visit the various places that are can give you room for cultural integration and cultural immersion. And this is not just about visiting; it's also about interacting with the locals, which are friendly, and interacting with them and getting to learn from them. So our accommodation is not in isolated places, but also within the community, where you can actually be able to walk and visit various places for the purposes of ensuring that you're richly engaged. Now, moving on. So that is very, very important as a highlight of the accommodation facility and the location. Even in case you have a question on the locations, it's always good to raise that question, and we are happy to help. Now, moving on, what is included or provided in your accommodation? Now, I'm giving the basic package, or rather, what is the most common package for the students, in case, and I'll be talking of the housing options provided for a year, and so you'll be able to ask and raise a question in case you have any towards the end of the presentation. So what is provided, number one, is shared bedrooms, which are well stocked with the following things. Now, when I talk of shared bedrooms, the house may have between 4 and 5, or rather 2 to 5 bedrooms, and each bedroom is shared between 2 to 3 participants. And each participant have their own bed and beddings, and of course these are well kept by our housekeeping staff. Then they will have mosquito nets, and they will have wardrobes, that is for the purposes of storage of your clothes. Then there is a well-stocked kitchen with a cooker, of course, the one that will be used to make meals for you. There is a refrigerator with a freezer, just in case you have a drink you want to have it cold and nice. And then there is other household utensils. Assuming that you wake up in the middle of the night and you want to make yourself some coffee, there is such amenities for you to be able to provide, and you'll be provided actually with the orientation to them, just in case you need to use them anytime in the course of your placement. Then in the house also, you're going to be provided with 3 meals a day. Now, these 3 meals work this way. There is an in-house chef to do this for you. And they entail also local cuisines and the barbecue once in a while, mostly done on Fridays, to cap, the lengthy working week. So these are in-house, they're prepared by the chef. And as I'm going to be stating, as we move on with the presentation, with regards to the meals, you can actually speak out and say that I am a vegetarian, and therefore I don't just take any meal. I need a vegetarian diet, and that is actually provided for you. Now, moving on, the other thing is the on-ground staff. Now, when I talk of on-ground support, or rather on-ground staff, this can never be separated with the on-ground staff, because now this dwells to who are the people that will be there to support you and ensure that you have a comfortable stay in the accommodation. There is a chef, as I mentioned, who will be doing meals for you. There is laundry done for you weekly by the person who will be doing laundry. There is also housekeeper to ensure that the house remains as hygienic as possible in the course of your time of stay, in the residence. There is also an operations coordinator. This operations coordinator extends beyond the accommodation, but of course, the accommodation, as I said, is the primary place. So they will be, giving assistance to you when you live within the house, and they will be one of the staff that will be looking at and to ensure that there is a lot of right things happening in the course of your accommodation. Now, the other thing is a comfortable setup. That is, you'll have a spacious living room, and I'm going to be showing you in a bit of a pictorial of that. Then there is internet connectivity within the residence, so you'll be able to tweet, to Google, WhatsApp, Snapchat with your friends back at home, and even upload a bit of some videos that you may have taken on your local excursions. Then you're going to also have a cable TV, so you'll be able to watch a bit of local channels, and even a bit of other channels that you can have interesting items to watch on. I'll move on as to the other thing. So as I said, the spacious living room. As you can see, there's a well-equipped kitchen with all those amenities that you will need for your placement, and of course, well kept. And there's shared rooms with very comfortable beds, as you can see there. It's early in the afternoon, so please don't start thinking of sleeping at this time. But those are the amenities that are there in terms of the shared rooms, and they're well kept and well maintained by our housekeeping staff. Now, that is just an extension of the same. You'll have chef-prepared meals with cuisines also locally, and maybe something to highlight on that. Once in a while, you can be involved in the preparation of these meals, and the idea is to, perhaps, get you oriented, or get you understand how to make some of these local cuisines, for the benefit of ensuring that you also understand your location and what meals are very common in the location that you will be staying in. But all along, the idea behind this accommodation facility is to ensure that you have a comfortable stay when you arrive, and you ensure that you feel like you're home all along the time that you'll be on placement with Elective Africa. So what is provided, and this is, I have highlighted in brief what is provided within the accommodation and what you actually will find within the accommodation. In case you have a special dietary need that is of course catered for, it should be communicated early in advance, and then the chef are friendly, as I said, and they will be willing to provide you with a bit of orientation to local recipes and how to make local cuisines, in case you will need to do to learn on how to do a couple of them. Now, I'll move to what you need to bring along with you, because that's an important one, for the purposes of ensuring that you're also prepared and you don't travel and find that you don't have some of these things. So you need to come with sunscreen, just in case you develop sunburns and stuff like that. Then you'll need to come with scissors and nail clippers and tweezers. You come with a comfortable pair of shoes. Of course, as you all know, the hospital, given that is I would say, use high words and say is a high microbial environment, or it has the ability to create infections, or rather infectious environment. It's good to have closed shoes for the hospital or rotations, and then sandals and open shoes for the purposes of rotations, or rather visits to the local places, and even the stay within the residence. So you'll also need to come with towels, that is including bathing towels and face towels. That is, you'll also come with the swimming suits for the purpose of swimming. Some of our residences have swimming pools, and you of course come with your swimming gear. And then you need to come with toiletries, and this involves your toothbrush, a bit of your lotion, your favorite lotion, and then your toothpaste and other personal hygiene items. You'll also need to come with the hair dryers and with a shaver. So you come. Those are some of the personal items that you need to carry with you, just in case there is, any item that I have left out, and you perhaps may want to clarify on whether you will need to come with it, or it is provided within the accommodation. Then you can always ask. And as I said, within the right hand side of the platform, which is well manned by my colleague and communications officer Violet, you can ask your question, and Violet will be there to respond to the question. So those are some of the items that you'll need to bring along with you for the purposes of ensuring that within the house of residence you will have a comfortable stay. You can also, although this goes without saying, you will come with your phone for browsing purposes, and also come with your laptop. This is going to be safe within your accommodation. So um, in case you have you want to watch a movie, and go to the various movie sites and enjoy a movie there, so you can come with it, and the adapters and stuff like that can be purchased when you arrive on program. So that is, as I said, basically some of the items that you are supposed to come with for the purposes of your comfortable stay within the accommodation facility. Now, what are the accommodation options with the EA? Now, when I talk of accommodation options, several questions arise. What if I am traveling with a friend and I don't want anyone else to be in the room with them? I just want to share that room with my friend and my friend only. You know, someone might also ask how many of us will be in that room. Someone may ask, what if I want to be in a room on my own? I don't want to be with anyone else in my room. I just want to have my own room. So these are various options, the various options that are there for EA accommodation. The first one and the most common one is shared bedrooms. Of course, you'll have one student apartment with 2 to 5 bedrooms, and the rooms are shared between 2 to 3 participants. As I said, each on their different beds, and any sharing that happens within the EA accommodation is mainly between people of the same gender, unless on particular request. And I'm going to be addressing the question of particular request as I move on. So the shared bedrooms are between participants of the same gender, each on different beds, and 2 to 3 participants per room. The living room, of course, that is the table room where there is a TV, and the kitchen are shared, and the dining areas are shared between all participants. So the other thing is the single rooms. Now this comes as a request. The this comes as a request whereby you share. You say, in as much as we're sharing the whole house amongst the participants, you may need to have your own room, not share with any other participants. Share the house, but retain your own room. That is also provided for. But given some of our accommodation packages are in shared principle, this may attract us an extra charge. But if you want to share a room with your friend, and let's say you're traveling as a couple, and you're coming and you want to spend the room, the two of you, then you make that communication prior, and we are happy to organize for that. And of course, the idea behind having a single room and having a comfortable stay in any of these options is prior communication. So in case you have a special requirement, we request that you make that prior communication. But if not, then we work very hard to ensure that you have the comfortable stay within the rooms, and you share participants of the same gender. And of course, this is also an opportunity to learn from the people that you'll be living with. Of course, traveling alone involves learning from different cultures, learning from different people, from different states, and probably even from different countries, and even from different programs. Probably you're in pre-medical and you get to spend a room with someone who is already a medical, an MD, a graduated medical doctor. They might share with you a few tips here and there on how to be successful in the MD profession. The other option is the placement on a package, also very popular for people who just want to spend their time in hotels. And they also, probably you have family within the location, and you want to be spending time with family. So this package is called the placement only package. We do not offer accommodation for this. You look for accommodation for yourself. So we just connect you to the hospital and ensure that you have a customized placement within the hospital. So this ensures that you're going to be having that bit of enjoyment of your placement on your own, and ensuring that we provide you with mentorship. That is at $500 for every 4 weeks and less. So most of you, who are watching this webinar actually are on the either the shared bedrooms and the first two packages. And in case you have any request on that, of course, reaching to us on operations email can always help us, customize it for you. What are some of the common rules? Every market has, some basic rules, and these rules again are not cast on stone. They are rules that are made to ensure that we all have a comfortable stay, and they are not rules that are not cast on stone, and they're not rules meant to ensure that you are limited in the course of your stay, but they are rules that give us guideline, to ensure that we are able to provide the best in terms of your accommodation package. So first of all, access to the house is limited to authorized people, that is to the EA staff and the students on placement. This is something that we are clearly able to, monitor on. So if one wishes to come with friends within the residence, we request that you at least inform the operation staff. And this is important to ensure that you have safety of your property and the property of other participants who are on program with you. Then the other thing is, participants are required to conduct themselves in an orderly and respectful manner while they are within the residence. So that is to say that, you respect each other and you conduct yourself in a manner that is accommodating to each other while you're on placement. Again, this is going to be home for you for the 2 weeks or the 3 weeks or the 4 weeks or even for the 8 weeks that you're going to be on your placement. This is going to be important. And again, for people who smoke, we don't allow for smoking within the house, but there are designated areas that are there within the apartments that you can go do smoking. But within the house, we don't allow for that, just to ensure that we accommodate everyone's, everyone in the accommodation. Then participants are requested to take care of the house amenities. So you'll be, using plates, you'll be using lighting, you'll be using refrigerators, and even to some extent, even the cookers of the residents. So it's always good to ensure that you maintain them in a good way and ensure that they're always well kept. Any breakages and damages should be communicated. If they are completely unavoidable and by accident, that one can be a point of discussion. But any breakage are, the students are required to make replacement for it. Participants are urged to be friendly to each other. Of course, this goes without saying. It's shared learning. To facilitate that shared learning, the participants are supposed to be friendly to one another and live in peace and harmony for the 2 weeks that is going to be your friend, your roommate, and like in quote unquote, your family person, your family member. So it's good to be friendly to them. Then participants are urged to safely keep their personal items. It's always good when you have personal belongings to keep them safe. Don't leave your money just open like this. Sometimes it might get me misplaced. So it's just the basic of ensuring that the items that you have as you travel abroad are safely kept. So always, ensure that they are safe. They are safely kept. Probably in your suitcase. So keep your personal belongings safe, in an orderly way. And then students are required to always alert the cook in case they need to make something in the kitchen. So or they need to be involved in the cooking. Of course, sometimes these are things that you cannot alert. In case you get hungry in the night, you cannot go calling the chef and asking, oh, can I use the cooker? No, that may not necessarily happen, but it's always good, in the times that you can alert the cook, to always alert them, so that they can give you guidance or even assist you with anything that you may want. But in the event that they're totally out of reach and it's a midnight and you've gotten hungry and you want to warm something for yourself, it's always allowed that you make use of the kitchen facility. And again, this is home for you for the time that you are in placement. So the students are required to share their amenities amicably. So this again goes to be friendly with each other. Unless on request, the shared rooms among people of the same gender. I already mentioned that. In case of a problem with the accommodation or a challenge, and the question here is, can a challenge arise when one is on placement? Yes, the answer, the automatic answer, just like in our homes where we live, sometimes things are not working. Sometimes a light goes off. Sometimes the freezer, is not working well. Sometimes the cooker maybe is out and you need to make something, or even those basic things. You need something changed for yourself. In case of any of these challenges, that's why we have very robust on ground support for you to ensure that if anything happens with these things, you are always provided with that assistance. The operations coordinator is available. And what is surprising, or rather what may interest you to know, is that the operations coordinator is available on a 24-hour basis. That does not mean that they don't have some time to, rest and sleep, but, they are always available to provide, so that form of guidance and assistance in case any challenge arises. The biggest, rather the most crucial item in my very honest submission to you, the most important asset you have in your accommodation is not the house you'll be sleeping on. It's not the food that will be there on the dining table. It's not the sleeping area where you'll be spending your night, but it's the accommodation. It's the on-ground support and the operations coordinator for that matter. This is the person who is like, a parent to you. In case anything goes wrong with your placement, this is the person to reach, the go-to person for you. So this is the biggest asset you have. Please make use of them to ensure that you have the best time while you are in the facility. So unless with the information of the operations coordinator, we require, for the purposes of ensuring that now, assuming you're sharing a room with someone and that person comes at midnight every day, they go take, a few beers, and then when they're coming back, they come back, drunk, and they come back at 2 a.m. and you're waking up for a busy schedule, probably, going to the obstetrics ward and the maternity ward the following day at 8 a.m. That won't be comfortable. So unless there is, with the information of the operations coordinator, we require that participants are back by 10 p.m. And please note, unless with the information of operations coordinator. We realize that sometimes you may want to go out and do a bit of karaoke for those who like singing, do a bit of, interaction with the local people and have a bit of the nightlife when you are on placement. So we allow for that. But the idea here is inform the operations coordinator and also inform your housemate, Information of the house coordinator ensures that they are aware of where you are. So in case something happens, they will tell you, hi, I'm at this particular place, please come. There is something I need you to sort. They will be able to come, or even sometimes accompany you. So that is the idea behind this 10 p.m. rule. But this is not to mean that it's cast on stone. It's something that's negotiable. It's something that is sequentially discussable with the operations people, and it's something that you can actually speak to them about, and they're able to offer that particular kind of assistance to you. So moving on, so this is a slide that I normally maintain on on all my presentations. On the right hand of side of the presentation, there is the question, the charter section. So my colleague Violet is monitoring that. So in case there is any question on it, rise to it and ask any question, and we will be happy to respond. Meanwhile, in case you have any questions prior your travel, I'm sure in the next couple of weeks I'm reaching out to many of you that are upcoming to do a bit of pre-departure training. That is another very, very informative session on what you need to do to prepare yourself for coming to the placement. But in case there is anything that you need assistance on, you can chat us, reach to us on Facebook, tweet, a comment to us, or even share an Instagram photo with us. Then the other thing is you can write an email to us. You can write directly to the people you've been in communication with, or they will be happy to provide an assistant to you on. So in case of any question, raise it to us. Not only now, but even when I'm off air, then you can always ask any question, and then we'll be happy to provide the assistance. So thank you. That was part of the presentation. I do really appreciate you listening to me. Now I go to the most interactive stage. Please, having spoken for close to 30 minutes, would be also nice for you on your end to raise any question. So on the right hand side, I see also some questions are starting to come in fast. So type your question. Let me respond to it at this particular session, and I'm happy to do that. So I'll start with the first question, which is, what are the meals like? The meals are like this, first of all, they are customized meals. The diets are going to be prepared with an in-house chef. That means there's a lot of flexibility with them. They are not, really cast on stone again. There are things that we can speak about. You say that I need this prepared for me, or I didn't like the meal that was done for me yesterday. But trust you me, and this is to give, a highlight that, has been given by a participant before. Every time you'll have that diet given for you, and you'll be like, wow, I need that done for me tomorrow. And then the next day you done another different cuisine, and then you're like, oh wait, I need this done for me the other day. So this is just basically customized. In case there's something you want eliminated and solved, then that can be provided for you. Now, someone asked, is there a place for me to purchase a cell phone, or should we purchase a phone plan prior and use our current phone? This is the information, the actual information on the phone. You will need a phone actually with a local SIM for the purposes of communication when you're on ground. That one you'll surely need. So now, how that works is, first and foremost, you can have your phone unlocked, so that it's compatible with local SIMs. They can be inserted, or rather, it's compatible basically with the local SIM. And therefore, when you arrive, as part of your local area orientation, you will have the local SIM registered for you. In case your phone is unlockable, that is, it can't be unlocked, then we will provide for you a local phone. Now, this local phone may not be internet enabled, but it will enable you to have the local conversations and local chats with the local people. Like, for example, the driver, you might need your driver to take you to some place or pick you from the hospital. Then that is very, very important. So it's important to come with have your phone unlocked prior, so that it can accommodate the local SIMs. But in the absence of that, we will actually provide you with a local phone with a local SIM card. That is us who provide that for you, and that way you will be able to maintain the local conversation. So I'll move to the next question, and perhaps before I move away from the question of phones, you can also come with your computer. And once you arrive, we'll give you passwords and things like that on the house that you'll be living. Thank you, Andrea, for your question. We're actually looking forward to having you in Arusha, Tanzania, and it's nice to see you around here. So, do you suggest bringing cash or credit card? So, in terms of whether you would like to cash and credit card, this is our advice. You should always have cash on you. And rather, let me go through that again. So, in the question of cash or credit card, the most viable option is carry a few dollars with you, for the purposes of the first few days, and for the purposes of just having cash on you. But the most recommended method is to have a credit card with you. Now, when you have a credit card, means there are very, very many outlets for you to go and exchange cash or get cash from ATMs. So that is available. And you know what? This is the most safest option, because I think it's not always a recommended option to have a lot of cash on you, just for the purposes of ensuring that your safety. Carrying cash may attract many things, even if you lose it, for example. But when it is on credit card, it's very accessible. There are very many cash outlets you can go to, but it's always good also to have a few dollars with you, just for the purposes of the first few days. But again, on the day of your orientation, the day you're oriented to the local area, you will have a broad orientation to the various options. You can use your credit card here, and you can actually test it with, getting a few local currencies. And the question of currency also extends to, exchanges. You will also, as part of orientation, be shown how to use the local currency, so that you understand how that goes. For example, and this is just an example for you, Andrea, $1, $1 in Tanzania shillings is around 2,280 Tanzanian shillings. So that may be a bit confusing, right? So you will get an orientation to it. But so, just to go direct to the question, you carry a few dollars with you, a few, and then credit card. There are very many outlets for you to do that. Please keep your questions coming in, so we can respond to them. And I hope I am very, very clear on that particular question, Andrea. The next question, and this boils again to the question of what if someone falls ill when they're on placement? That's a question of accommodation. It's also a question of hospital. It's also a question of the general stay when you're with Elective Africa. What if you fall ill while you are on placement? So in case you fall ill, as part of your program pre-departure items, you're supposed to have your medical insurance. That is very, very important for you. So you can get treatment. We actually advise on the places that you can go get treatment, get emergency medical. In case you fall ill while on the hospital, emergency medicine is provided for you, but at the cost of your insurance. In case you fall ill within the night, for example, while you are on the in the accommodation facility, again, reach out. The asset that I said you have in your stay with us, that is the operations coordinator. They organize very swiftly on how you can get transported to a facility for you to get emergency medical assistance. So we are always there to give that assistance. Yeah, so give us assistance on your health. So presuming that you're still very thinking about your next question, the next curious question would be, assuming I finish my placement and I want to extend, I have enjoyed my stay, I want to extend with 2 days on my placement. That is always available. So anytime you extend, any night you extend, that is provided for, depending on the number of other participants that are coming in, because these are shared student houses. So in case there is availability for that extension, we do actually advise on that, and you can actually extend for a night and two. We give details of that when the request arises. So, Violet, I don't think there is any other question, right? So, thank you very much, guys, for attending. It's been a pleasure to have you around. This is a voice that you'll probably be hearing again when we are having pre-departure trainings. And thank you very much for your audience. You can always reach out to us on these details. Ensure you like a Facebook page if you have not liked, and ensure you follow us on Twitter if you have not. In case of any question, these are very open channels at any time of the day, at any time of the night. You have our emails, both the personal emails and the group emails. You can always chat us up, and we are very happy to provide you with necessary assistance and to provide you with the necessary guidance to further with this. So thank you very much once again for following through, and I wish you a lovely day ahead. For those that have their morning now, or afternoon, and for those who are late in the night, like myself, do have yourself a lovely night. I hope to see you another time, soon, and discussing further on your upcoming placement. Thank you very much, and do have lovely one. I end it on a Swahili note. So the Swahili word for goodbye is kwaheri. So I will say kwaheri, and although I cannot hear you, you will say asante on your end. It's a Swahili word for thank you. So kwaheri, and my assumption is you have said asante. Goodbye, and have a lovely time.